Good morning, Flosstube. Welcome back, or welcome. If you are new here, I am Sen, and this is my little place on YouTube for everything cross-stitch. It is Easter Monday today, the 6th of April. So that means there is gonna be a monthly recap of the past week. And since it's also April, and I think this is the first video in April, that means I will also be doing a quick recap of how my March went later on in the video. So first I'm gonna show you all of the stitching that I did, then I'm gonna do a little bit of stats, and then I'm gonna try something new in regards to plans that I'm gonna show you later. So that's fun, I hope. So for all those that are watching today, I hope you're having a very relaxing long Easter weekend, because here it is a bank holiday, so I'm gonna take probably most of the day off, although I do still have a lot of retreat preparation to do, so might not chill the entire day. We will see, or I will see at least. But for now it is Monday morning, I have my coffee, and it is time to show some stitching. I worked on 5 projects and some little shenanigans that I'm probably not going to include in the video, but I'll decide on that when I get there. So for now, that is all the preamble waffling, and we shall move over to my desk and I'm going to show you what stitching I did. So let us begin with my game stitching. For Milestone Manor, I did finish the stitches I had to do for Forest Lake. So this is where we are currently. As you can see, I did finish the row that I was working on last time. Let me see if I can get the camera a little further in. That's close. Good. So I did finish the row, meaning I did get a milestone. I also did get a second milestone because I did hit 10,000 stitches on this little project here. So that was exciting. So two milestones for finishing the remaining stitches in this. I do believe, let me check before I tell you something wrong, how many those were that I still had to do. About, yeah, a little over 400 stitches that were still left on this one. So what that means, I did get the missing experience point that I needed for my level up. So I got to do my level up. And when you do level ups in this game, let me grab my little sheet. You do roll a d4, and then you have the number rolled on the d4, and I rolled a 4, which means I got 2 more hit points. So my new hit point maximum is 8. So the next time I want to level up, I will need 9 experience points. The first one I already got because, like I said, I also got a row finish on this one, so I carried that one over to the next level. And now that I have 2 more hit points, that also means that I could open 2 more doors, and I spun a wheel for it to see which doors I was gonna open. And luckily, because for level ups I have to move back down to the bottom room. Now I need to put the camera a little further out so you can see my entire plan here. So to the entrance room, which is Coffee Dragon, we'll get to that in a moment. So one room that I got to open was a number 3 here, this little alcove with the seating area, and the project in that room is Winter Woods. And the other door that I got to open is all the way up here again, and up here the number 14, which has Gravity, which I believe is currently my biggest project that I'm working on, like something around 300,000 stitches or something, which is all the way up there. And then I did spin a wheel again to see which one I'm gonna work, like which room am I gonna go into. I think I briefly touched on that last time, just to make sure I'm not always going into the same room, because I always want to work on passion, because that was supposed to be my focus. And the wheel decided that I will be working on Winter Woods, next. So I am currently, for my level up, back in the entrance hall and doing my stitches on Coffee Dragon, on which I rolled exactly 1,000 stitches. And I did work on it, so I'm going to show it to you next after this one. And I am not yet finished. So this will need a little bit more love this week before I can move on to Winter Woods. But we'll get into that in a moment. So now I have 2 more rooms to play with for this game. I did not work on my second game at all this week, but we will get to that in plans, how I'm trying to get a little bit more to working on that. So this is the forest lake. Let me show you what it will look like when it is finished. Let me grab the bag that has the little tag on it. This is what it will look like. And it has the first top, I think 3 rows finished. Maybe it's already 4, but I think it's 3. So I think this is 1 row, 2 row, 3 rows. Yeah, it's 3 rows. The top 3 rows are done on this one. So let's pack it away and grab the Coffee Dragon, which is currently my working project for this game. So it is still in the hoop because I will work on it more this week. And I am trying to finish the row up top here. I try to sort my hanging threads a little bit. And as you can see, the first column here is moving along nicely. This is the end of the project, the entire width. And I just have a little bit more filling to do on it to get the first row done. And I do kind of find that I like this working like row by row method. Again, I did used to do it doing royal rows, like where you do a tower, which is a 10 by 20 block, and then park, but that gave me rows on Passion, so I don't want to do that again. So now I'm doing like sort of typewriter along the top row and then finishing them row by row. And because I do tend to park as far away as I can, and I did notice that gave me like double strands when I had them parked all the way in the back and started in the second row and then had the parked strands over here. I will probably like do the sort of zigzag. So when I'm reach the end here, because my threads are parked as far over as possible, if I go back this way, then I have the parked threads ready to move them back over. So that's something I'm gonna try out. We'll see how that works. At least for like big projects like this with the 1/1 where like the parked threads are massive, they are long and there's a lot of them. So that is where this one's at. I still need to do 380 stitches on it before I finish my game like roll on it. So, and I worked exclusively like along this row, filling in, and you can see in the before and after how much more this row is filled in than it was last time I showed you. And once those stitches are done, it will go away for now. We move, but not for long, because you know or remember how this game works. Once I did these stitches, move into the room with Winter Woods, did my stitches for Winter Woods, I will move back in here and stitch on Coffee Dragon again. And then I will roll and see which door is next. And then we will move up and we'll be back to Forest Lake, which I think is not gonna be in the game for much longer, because looking at my milestones, Forest Lake has already taken 4 points of damage and it only got allocated 6 HP. So there's 4 more milestones to do on Forest Lake and then it will be defeated and removed from the game. And then my upper floor intersection will be free and I can just move through it at my leisure. I had thought about if I would replace any whips that I defeated, but then I decided I won't do for now because I want to see how long it will take me to clear this entire building. And then I can always like choose a new building or put new whips into this building again. So, and that will take me quite a while even without putting new whips in when I defeat one. So that is that. Let's put this one back in its bag and see what else I worked on. Oh, put it here. And I'm just gonna try not to like close the zippers. All right, and the coffee dragon, when it's finished, will look like this. So next, I also worked on another full coverage, not for any game. That was my game stitching for the week. There's no more game stitching. Let me grab a sip of coffee. So we get back to game stitching and plans later in the video. So I also worked a little bit on Storm, another dragon, which I'm also going to move along the row. I can say his tiny hoop. So filling in like the colors of the stitches that were missing here, and then slowly moving along. And I'm trying, and I did try to stitch in threads as good as possible before I was like, nah, I'm just gonna move along. And I parked these threads here because the hoop ends and I didn't want to take it out of the hoop before I had all of these filled in. I only did a little over 300 stitches on it, so you're probably not going to see a lot of changes. I'm still not fully convinced by the coverage of the darker colors over here, but I think it should work out fine when you look at it like with from a distance, I suppose. So that is what this one is at. Let me show you what it will look like when it's done. Is this, and I'm still on the top. Like, this is a bit crazy, as you can see there's stitches everywhere, and if you've been following, you know that I first had the idea of just going color by color, because the I think it's 939, the very dark blue, is a very prevalent color in this, as you could probably guess by looking at the picture. So I think an entirety of 20 or 25% is probably 939 or something. So, but then I got bored. I always get bored when I try to stitch color by color. It's just not my thing. Let's put it like that. And I should probably take it out of the hoop because I do not know when I'll work on it next. Let's do that real quick. Oh, that's the other. I need the other one for that. Because I was like, I'm just gonna work on this whenever I feel like it. But I am trying a new system now so that I get to touch a few more of my projects. So I should not leave them in the hoop, apart from the one that I know I'm definitely gonna work on, which is the Milestone Manor ones. Because with my new plans that I'm gonna get to, they do have at least one day a week that I will work on them so I can get them done. But yeah. Now you can see it better. It's out of the hoop. Get down here, you little bobbin. This is where this one's at. And I love this count of fabric. It's 32 count, which makes it so nice and small and dainty. And I think I'm gonna stitch every future full coverage on this, unless I have like other fabric that I still haven't stashed that I want to use up first. So that is Storm. Then I do have a new start. Oh yes. Who would have thought, right? That I would have a new start. And I will have to insert a picture of what this will look like finished because I haven't printed out a tag or anything yet. And this is this one. This is an Owl Forest pattern from Owl Forest Embroidery, and it is free. So this one is called, I don't know what the Russian original is called, but the English one is My Heart Is Ever Thine, which is the text that is in here. And there is a companion piece, which I believe is slightly older, which is To My Sweetheart. They are the same size. and I'm gonna stitch both of them, but I did start this one first. I don't know why I chose this one. Technically this is stitched with black and a variegated blue because these I think are supposed to be blueberries, but I changed it to like my signature colors, if you will, like green and purple. So this fabric here, and it's probably not gonna show up very well on camera. Let me see if I can change my light a little bit. I do have it set to daylight, so technically it should. I think this is a bit better. Upsala. But it's a bit difficult for these like very subtle things to show up. But this turned out, I dyed this myself, so that's what I was getting at. This turned out a little bit more yellow than I would have liked. So it's a very yellowish, very light green. So it probably looks a little bit more yellow on screen than it is. And it does have a very subtle green mottling in it, as you can see over here everywhere. And I don't know if it will pick it up better if I put it closer. It looks a little bit like foliage. And I do have more of this fabric because I dyed like a bigger piece. So I have an equal piece to this one for the other pattern that I will start eventually, not right now. And another longer, slightly thinner piece that was the cutoff of it. So I'll see what I get to do with that. But for now, and I'm like, that would have been so good for the spring sampler that I just finished. But I digress. So this is how far I got with this one. I did put 724 stitches into it yesterday. No, the day before yesterday, on Saturday. And these are deceptive. Like they look larger than they are. They have under 4,000 stitches, but since they are like sampler-ish, they are like with a lot of empty space in between, they look larger and more work than they actually are. So I will see when I get back to working on this, but for now this is my start. I'm using just black 310 and this variegated purple. I think if there's a lot of light on it, it ghosts a little on where the purple is light. And I did order 2 different variegated purple threads that I originally wanted to try out, but then I got impatient and just used the one that I had. And I still like it a lot. Like, I was concerned a little bit that it was getting too light, but I think it's fine. Let me know what you think. Is it fine? I think it's readable. And usually you don't have it under like a light that just shines on it. Let me see what happens if I turn off the light. Then I get other lights. But yeah, this is how far this one got. This is my new start. And now I think I have enough new starts. No more new starts for now. So we'll see how long I stick to that. Let's put this one away. And last but certainly not least, I did work on my model. I'm trying to do some like 200 stitches daily on it, at least during the week for work. Coffee. So this is May's Patreon pattern that I'm working on. And now you can already see, last time it was still a little bit, how do you say, obscure. But now you can start to see that this is gonna be a little mermaid. And I was originally planning to finish her hair first, but I just found it a little weird. I was looking at her and not having finished eyes. And you might agree if you saw it in my recap video last week. But now she has eyes. They are finished. So I put the purple colors in it. And now I will go back to working in the hair so I can move my hoop over. This is a printed Ada. So I'm being careful not to get this dirty or anything. So, and they do And I was worried about the hoop marks with the spring sampler because I had it in a hoop all the time to work on it daily. But as you could see if you watched last week, they just ironed out perfectly fine without getting the fabric wet, because they can wash out if you wash them, since they are printed. You're not supposed to wash them at all, I think, until you absolutely, unless you absolutely have to, and then gotta be careful with cold water and everything. But I found that I love printed Aida because the colors are so vibrant and you know exactly what you're getting. And this is an opalescent. I don't know how well it picks up on camera. I think it does a little bit. But yeah, this is the Little Mermaid. Once I'm done with her hair, I will be moving on to her tail. How much did I do on her? It's 4 and 5, 6, 7, 800. Probably around 1,000 stitches since you saw her last. And she has 4,000 in total, so she currently is 46% done. So she's not that large. I should be able to finish her by the end of April. It's only the 6th, but we'll see. I am trying to do around 200 stitches on her daily until she's done. So that is the mermaid. Well, let me show you what else I did. This is just like something smallish that I showed you quite a few videos ago. So nothing substantial. I am seeing if I can get a few more needle minders done before the retreat, so I can take them with me along with my regular needle minders. So, but I haven't finished any yet. As you can see, this is all I got done. Two more froggies. This is gonna be a strawberry. So we'll see if I even get them done. This is just like some in-between stitching that I'm doing. But yeah, that is all the stitching. So shall we do plans first or shall we do March recap first? I think I'm gonna do March recap first real quick. So for everybody that's not interested in stats, you can check out for like a minute or two, but I'm not gonna make this overly long. I have stitched a total of 17,576 stitches in the month of March, which is good, like for me, at least, I suppose. Like January was a little better, February was a little less, but February has less days. But I also worked on more like full cross projects than 10 stitch projects in March. So that obviously takes longer, so that will end up being less stitches. Then I did work on a total of 14 projects, which is also less than January and February, so it seems I was a little bit more focused this past month. I did finish one project, which was the spring sampler, and I started 3. And I think we need to work on that a little bit, of me starting more than I'm finishing, because that will end up becoming a problem. Because I already have over 100 whips, and I don't really need more. But yeah, that's that. I worked every day in March, and so far I have stitched every day of the year so far. I think the lowest might have just been a little under 100 stitches, but I did stitch every day so far this year. Although I think like my best, like the day I did the most stitches on this year so far is still the 1st of January. I have not topped that yet. So we'll see if and when that happened. But I did like 1,868 stitches on the 1st of January. So that's a big one to top, definitely. The project I worked most on in March is the Cozy Spring Sampler, which is to be expected because that is a start and finish in the month of March, I believe. Or I started it in February. I'm not exactly sure, but I did finish it in March with around 4,717 stitches. So my model stitch for Patreon will probably always be the one that got the most stitches. So apart from that one, the one that got the most was the Manor. That got over 2,000 stitches, followed by the other projects that I worked on for my Master Manor game. So that is how that looked. And we're starting strong into April. So that is stats, and that's enough for stats from me. So I can close March on my trigger now. Let's get into plans. I will continue playing Master Manor, obviously, because I really do enjoy it, but I do want to get into some other projects as well. And both for myself, because I have so many whips and I want to touch more of them. And I know that I gravitate to certain ones, especially the newer ones, which makes me forget sometimes that the older ones exist, even though I still love them. So I want to give them more love as they deserve. And I also want to show like a little bit more rotation here, like so you don't see the same project every week. That will get boring for you as well eventually, I think. Maybe? I don't know. Tell me. You let me know in the comments. If it's boring to see the same project every day. Every week, not every day. But that being said, I did make myself a little list that I have here about what my plan for this week and for now is, and then I will see how that works for me. So on Mondays, I will stitch on a model stitch, which means I will look at my list of all my model stitches, and I will spin the wheel and I just pick one of them, and then I will stitch on it. I'm not setting myself a number of stitches, because that does not work. I don't know how much time I have or how long it will take. But I will work on it and we'll see how that goes. On Tuesdays, I will work on the Milestone Manor, which will this week be the Coffee Dragon because it's not done yet. And on Wednesday, I will work on the other Milestone Manor game that I've set up, which will be the Autumn Window, because that still needs quite a few stitches. And if I don't get them, it will never get done. On Thursday and Friday, I will work on a full coverage, which I will do a wheel spin for, so we will do that after like the overview. And on Saturday and Sunday, I will work on a non-full coverage decided by the wheel. And on top of that, I will work on my Patreon model stitch with around 100 to 200 stitches per day, every day. Unless it's like weekend or something, because that's technically work, so I do that on work days on top of that. And once I have those finished, like in my free time, I will do what I've set up in the on this little list. So I have my iPad here. Let's see how this works, because this is a big one. This is the old chunky, I think 15 point something inches that I got because I do draw on it, or I used to draw on it. Sometimes I still do, and this is old. I did set up Tiny Decisions wheel. I've used it before, but now we will use it for this. So let's see how that works. It's big and it's a little bit heavy. Okay. No, this is not what I wanted. Thank you. I just gotta figure out how to best hold it. This should work, I think. I'll just hope I don't drop it. So these are my models, like all of the patterns that I designed that I do not have a finished model for yet. So they are started, but they need to be finished. So let us spin the wheel and see what I'm gonna work on today. And I've set this up to like leave them grayed out. So what do we have? It's Queen Bee. Okay, so I will be working on Queen Bee today. And I don't have them here. They're all over in my... You know what? I'm gonna put a picture of this one. I will insert it in when I edit my video, so you know what I'm talking about. That will be Model Stitch Monday. Then, like I said, Tuesday, I will work on Coffee Dragon. And if I finish that and still like the 380 stitches that I need to finish and still have time, I will start on Winter Woods. But I doubt it, because 300 stitches for like a full coverage is quite a bit of work. On Wednesday, I will be working on autumn window. I'll see how much I can do on that. On Thursday and Friday, we will be doing a full coverage. So these are all my full coverage whips. And you might think, are you crazy? You're never gonna finish all of them. And you're probably correct. So let's see which one I will be working on this week. And it might be one that is in Marston Manor as well, because they are all in here. So that might be double, but it's not. It is disintegration, which is good because that has barely gotten any love ever since I started it. It was a Heaven and Earth Designs freebie quite a while ago. So that will be Thursday and Friday, and Saturday and Sunday for the non-full coverages, which are even more. Let's see what we get. Oh, the Druid one. Okay. I have not worked on that a little bit. Technically, that's what it's named. I'm not gonna make a Druid one out of it. So you will see when I insert the picture. I will remove the class name from under it. And I will probably use this for my Ranger instead. And put his name where the class name is currently sitting. So yeah, that looks good. I'm a bit excited about this, not gonna lie. So let me write that down. I'm gonna pause the video for a second. And I am back. Okay, so that will be the plan for the coming week. And you can come back on Monday next week and hold me accountable and see if I actually stuck to it. Because you never know with me. And I think that once I'm done, and I might change that at any time. This is not a set rule or anything. Like if you look at these, because this is a lot, right? These are a lot of projects on there, on the full coverage as well. When I'm through with all of these, and I worked on all of these, and I might switch this around a little bit and whatnot, like at the point where I filled up this entire wheel and have to reset it, so all the projects are in it again, then I can have a non-full coverage new start. Same with the full coverages. Which means I'm probably not going to have another new start this year, because if I do one of these per week, that's going to be how many? 53 weeks until I can get a new start. I don't even know if that's more than how many weeks are in a year? I don't know. So that's probably not going to work. But that just shows me that I have way too much. And I really, really need to finish things. I might change the rules on this a little bit. Like I'm gonna do 100 stitches or 200 stitches on the project that I've spun, and then spin it again on the same day or the day after, because this will spins I do 200. I do 2 days. So, but I think I will set it at a minimum of 200 stitches for non-full coverages and 500 for full coverages before I pick a second one for the week. I think that is a good number, because the smaller projects usually are all like full crosses and take me longer to work on. I think I'm probably gonna try that. And I think 200 stitches on a project that is small is a good progress. I'll have to see. I have to make this so I do enjoy it and I don't restrict myself too much. So that's it's gonna be an experiment. So we will see. If you want to follow along on this new journey, and if you haven't, do hit the subscribe. This is my shameless plug. Hit the subscribe so you can watch all of my videos. I'm here every week. Unless something happens. So far I've been able to stick to it this time. And I hope I'm at least a little bit entertaining. So yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying my best here. I'm trying. But that is it for the week, and I think I've been waffling a little bit with my plans. Retreat is coming up in 2 weeks, and yeah, I'm getting a little bit, you know, at least I'm not going on. I'm going to the retreat alone, but I will drive there with my friend. He'll be at a hotel, and so if anything goes sideways, I will not be there on my own. So that's good for my for my anxiety levels. And I know I can just go to my room and call my friend, and he'll be, if he's outside anywhere in the city, he'll be back in half an hour and everything's fine. So that's good, but it's probably gonna be super great and a lot of fun. It's just that I don't know anyone personally at the retreat because I don't have many stitchy friends, and the one that I do have is not gonna be there, so which is sad, but can't be helped, right? It is what it is. But maybe I will make new friends. I'm not good at making friends, but we'll see. If you are at Stitch and Retreat in Arnhem in the Netherlands in 2 weeks, let me know. Post it in the comments, and yeah, maybe we can have a chat. And or I'll also be having a table, and I will bring my my patterns and my needle minders, and I will yeah, we'll see how it goes. I've never done it before, like at least not at a cross stitch retreat. So that's pretty much all for life updates. I was, like, we were at my family's place yesterday for Easter, and I am amazed at how fast little children grow. Because if you know me, I do not have children myself, which is a choice, so no worries there. I never, like, well, there was a phase in my life when I was 17 where I was like, yeah, I want children, but that quickly passed. I'm very happy and very content to be an aunt of 3 little boys. They are little nightmares, but they are the best and the cutest and the sweetest. And the oldest one is starting school this summer. And I'm like, where the hell's the time gone? Wasn't he just born like yesterday? And the little one, the baby, he was born last January. He's 1.5 years old now. He's already walking around and everything, and I mean, of course, babies at that age do that, right? They are toddlers then, technically, not babies, but I don't know much about little children. I'm just fascinated of how fast they grow. I see them every like 2 to 3 months because we don't live in the same city. We live like 1 to 2 hours away, and yeah, so we usually meet at my parents' place, and we try to go there once a month or at least every 2 months. So yeah, eventually, hopefully, I will be able to move back to my hometown. But for now, it's not in the cards yet. So we'll see how that goes over the next few years. Hopefully before I'm 50. That would be really nice. Not that 50 is old, so no offense. But I'm 42, and sometimes I feel like I'm entering midlife crisis or something. Anyway, that is enough waffling. This video is probably over an hour long by this point. I hope I will see you again next week, next Monday. Do leave a like, hit the subscribe, and then have a great stitchy week, my friends. Bye bye!